Record. Okay, we're here with Jules, Liesl, and we're about to start a great interview. How are you, Jules?
Hi, I'm good. How are you today?
I'm very well, very well. Have
Good.
you always wanted to be an artist?
I did. Ever since I was younger, literally since I can remember, I've been wanting to sing. I've been wanting to be in the spotlight. Um, and it took a long time to get there, but we're here today. So,
When did you get the songwriting bug? When did you start thinking, I can write songs, I can do this sort of thing?
when I was like 10, I wrote my first song. My family was moving out of one of our childhood homes, and I was really sad. So I wrote a song about it and left it for the new owners of the house. So I was really young, and I always knew I wanted to sing and do music. So I really started young, but recently, in the last like 7 years, I really started my full music career with my manager, Greg, and just building our team. And, you know, it's been a journey since. So it's been
Okay.
recently.
Talking about that journey, can you briefly describe it over the hall and maybe the different roles you've inhabited? Because a lot of people might be coming here and just thinking you're a music artist, but you've done other things. So maybe you can briefly let us in on that and tell us what that's all about.
Yeah. So I started modeling. I didn't really know how to do music. I didn't know how to start that myself. So I started modeling and did that for a while. And I really grew that on my own. I didn't have um, a manager or an agent really. I was signed, but I kind of did everything myself. So I learned a lot of that side of it, of working. And I just got really tired of modeling in general. And so at the same time is when I met my manager, Greg Centineo, and we've just been creating me as a person again and literally branding myself, and really started with learning who I am and like growing as a person before we even got into the music side. And then once, yeah, so it was really cool because I didn't know who I was when I started music. I was like a lost soul in LA, like modeling, having no idea what I was doing with my life, had no direction. And
Most people don't know who they are after a lifetime. So
yeah, yeah,
that's a very good
exactly.
start.
I'm glad I figured it out, but
It's good.
we're still learning, definitely still learning who I am, but I think I know who I am now pretty much. So it's really cool. Um, but yeah, I just was over that, and at the same time met him, and he was like, what other things can you do? And I was like, well, I think I can sing. I always wanted to sing. And he was like, okay, well, let me see. He saw a video of me and was like, I mean, if you want to do something, we can do something here. Like you've got it. And so then that was like 7 years ago. And since then, we've been just working on myself and, growing a team, growing relationships, learning a lot, learning how to write. I always did. I liked to write when I was younger, but I didn't know how to. So
Yeah.
I learned that now, and now I'm doing like dance classes and gymnastics, and it's really
Moving,
fun.
moving, moving into the TikTok age where, visuals just as important as sound.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's a lot of fun stuff.
And
And
so tell us a little bit about the Centineo clan. There's Jojo, Noah, Greg,
yeah,
they must have played a big part so far.
yeah, Greg, he if you know Greg, and he's a great person to get to know or at least learn about. He is so smart and wise and talented, and beyond his talent, he's just a great person, and his family is a replica of that. And so he and his family is all very talented. So he connected me with JoJo, and he is a producer. And oh my God, JoJo he is a light, and he is amazing. But we connected, and he connected me with this other girl, Sophie, that she taught me how to like write music, and the two of them together, you know, we were writing, and that's when Toxic Boy started. That was the first song that we ever wrote, and that I really ever wrote and made, which was really cool to do that with JoJo. Everything started with JoJo and Greg. So JoJo has become like a huge part of my career and helping with everything. And he's like my best friend too. So it's sick. We have like a super cool relationship.
That's great. You're also talking about the dance that you were just moving into, and I know you're working with Rich and Tone. Tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, so I started working with Rich and Tone Teluega, and they were, you know, telling me like, you know, you've got to get into dance. Like, what type of artist do you want to be? Do you want, you know? So it's like, I just want to move. I want to have a show. I want to perform. I want to be I want people to watch, and instead of listen, they're also watching. You know, I want it to be like an experience to see me. And so they're like, you need to get into like every dance class possible. And so I started that, and I'm literally doing like ballet, hip hop, jazz funk, heels class. I started gymnastics class like as an adult. So it's super fun to like learn all this stuff all again. Because I used to do gymnastics and dance when I was younger. So now doing it as an adult. I'm not going to say my age, but
well, you know,
it's like it's super crazy.
I'm just guessing, but I'd say you're still younger than me, just by a fraction.
Ah, thank you.
You don't have to give away your age. All right, let's talk a little bit about your sound. How would you describe your sound?
It's very early 2000s pop, jungly, world vibe, fun dance. It's just different. I haven't heard a lot of music recently like what I am coming out with soon. You know, there's artists that are similar to my vibe, like Britney and Shakira and Chappell Roan and Kim Petras, and but I feel like I'm doing something that just feels like me and sounds like me. So it's very spicy. There's just everything. It's like literally every type of genre you can think of. I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to mix everything together, make a whole new genre. So that's exciting.
And who have been the inspiration? Sounds like Britney may have been. Who have you been?
Yeah, definitely Britney. When I was younger, I wasn't allowed to listen to Britney Spears. I used to sneak and listen to her, watch her on TV, and like pretend like my Barbies were her and stuff. Like hide it. My parents didn't know. So I started listening to Stacey Aurico. She's like, do you know who that is?
Yeah,
Stacey Aurico. Yeah, so she's really who my inspo, you know, was in the beginning, and it was always Britney too. And I feel like they're very similar energy. And Shakira, like I said, and Kim Petras and Chappell Roan. Chappell Roan's like very different. And I love that. And like Lady Gaga, she's very different too. All of those girls have like a different energy, and they're outside the box. And
Shakira,
that's
especially for a dance, you know.
Yeah.
Music artist, but I mean, most people would probably think about, you know, which is on Saturday night with Jimmy and dancing and all that sort of stuff. So that's a good inspiration. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. And they're all just very themselves and different, but also a little not themselves, because they have to be different on stage. And that's just what I look up to.
Yeah.
And I just think it's really cool to be weird. And so that's
Weird is unique.
That's my vibe.
Really unique, so that's fine. Like you said at the start, there's just the moment and collaboration with it. So the simple thing about knowing yourself is just inhabiting every moment because it's your moment, it's not someone else's. So just keep focused on that. So it's a good thing. You were speaking
Yeah.
about music. Now you said you got some, music coming out. When's that coming out? Can we know about that, or is it a secret?
It is definitely coming out. I am still waiting to hear when it is coming out, but it will be soon.
Single, EP, album,
It's
video,
gonna be an EP, I think.
EP, and some
So
video. You got
it's
some
gonna be a
videos?
handful of songs, some video, hopefully a tour soon. Um, just fun things.
Good, good, good. Like
Yeah.
local stuff, and the music's going to come out in the next couple of months or later, or
Yeah, music will be out in the next couple months for sure. Hopefully. And I'm manifesting. I'm gonna say for sure it is gonna happen. It's coming out very soon. And definitely gonna be doing shows locally and non-locally. Gonna try to be traveling around and doing like a tour or
I
some
think
type of tour.
I think it's important. I think social media is great for influencers, but if you want to be a musician,
Yeah.
you've got to perform, and you've got to turn your customers, who are your audience, into advertisers. And so the
Yeah, I'm
word of
trying
mouth
to
gets
get
out.
a diverse age group going for myself. I want everyone to listen to me. I want everyone to want to listen to me. I want to be an artist for everyone.
With the Centeno, family, it sounds like you're going to have some good modification to enable you to get there. So, just keep
Yeah, I
turning
have
up,
a really
keep
great
turning
team
up.
around me to
Well,
help, so it's really good.
if you could perform with any music artist, alive or dead, who would you choose and why?
Oh, well, definitely Michael Jackson. That would be my
King.
first. Definitely Michael Jackson. Um, Definitely Lady Gaga.
Oh,
Definitely Madonna. Um,
you're talking to someone who
Britney,
grew up.
Britney, of course.
You're talking to someone who grew up with those people. So basically,
Oh,
when Michael came out with his original videos, they were like, just ridiculous. It was like Mars.
yeah,
It's ridiculous. So we get those all the
yeah,
time now. But back then they were like, unbelievable. So, but he was fantastic.
yeah.
And the same.
I love that. It's just super like out there and crazy, and that's the inspo
Yeah,
that I want.
when Madonna brought out her sex book, that was like the craziest thing that we ever saw. And now we've got it, everywhere. Every influencer is, a bit of TNA.
Yeah.
So, no, they're great, great artists.
Yeah.
What are your long-term aspirations as a music artist?
Um, I just want a big enough voice to help people in like every aspect that I can. But I feel like with music, like you just feel so much and the universe is so connected to music. Like music started from like Bible times, if you even want to go there, like it's always been very influential in the world. And so I just think that that's really powerful. So
We'll
just
have to have
continue to make music and influence through that
we'll have to have a
in positive
metaphysical chat
ways.
sometime because I'm into that conscious sort of side, manifestation stuff. So
Yeah, that's sick.
it'll be cool to get a bit deeper into that sort of stuff. We're not here to do
Yeah.
that today, but it sounds like you've got a very, wholesome and conscious approach, which I think is terrific. I think it's the only way to go. Very,
Yeah,
very.
my whole team also, and everyone that I really have around me in my life, we're all very spiritual and like with the universe and our manifestations and the moon. It's very impactful.
Just
So it's
digressing for a sec. Obviously, you probably meditate, do you detach?
yeah,
Because that's basically where it all is. If you can find everything in nothing, then you can
Mhm.
find everything in everything. That's simple.
Yeah,
So that's
I love
terrific.
that.
With that in mind, what piece of advice would you give to an artist starting out?
Have good people on your team and around you. Have just good people, because there's some weird people out there that are gonna do
Yeah,
some weird things, and
that's my
it's
piece.
hard. It's easy to get sucked into that, and it's easy to not know how to get out of it. And so, um, staying true to yourself, and you
Mentors and
know,
collaborators. Mentors
yeah.
give you trusted information. Collaborators help you have a bigger experience, but they've got to be trusted. And I think that's great advice. Great advice.
Yeah, Greg always told me and tells me, he's like, I can't work with someone if I can't be friends with them. I need to want to hang out. I have to want to be around them. I want to talk to them. I want to, so that always stuck with me, of like, you
But
need your team and your people around you. And if you're starting a music career or any career in entertainment, you need like good, positive people around you that care and that want to lift you up and help. So all the
so
people around, we're all trying to lift each other up and help each other and find ways that we can better each other. So that's
if
the
you,
best way to start.
if you come from a position of no need, you can have freedom in your choice. If you come
Mm,
from a position where you've got to do something for a label, you've got to do something for someone to get somewhere, you're always sort of fashioning something over someone else's direction. So that's
yeah.
if you can, but you've got to get there because you've got to get that in, you've got to have that influence to be able to negotiate with these people to do your thing and not their thing. And where a lot of
Yeah.
people miss out is they're so hungry for, the outcome that they're prepared to sign bad contracts and all that sort of stuff to sort of,
Yeah. You have to be okay with waiting and being patient, because,
yeah, I
it's,
understand what you're talking about. Okay.
yeah.
Just before I get on to a few final sort of short questions, what's the best thing about performing to a live audience, you feel?
Um, Once you just like the hard work, like seeing the hard work, because all the rehearsals and all the preparing and everything that goes into it, that's like really hard and strenuous on your body. And it's just a lot. So when you get to perform and you get to see everyone's like reactions, and then, their face, or they're dancing with you, or they're like, yeah, like, it's like, oh, okay, like, yeah, like, and that's so fun to see, like, when you're performing, with like, okay, like, this is actually like paying off, like I'm working hard for something to bring joy to people, and they're like lighting up through it. So
Uh,
that's really cool. And also I really like meeting people at shows. Like I'm always like running around and trying to get to know everyone there, which is fun, because I don't really like people or talking to people as much. I get nervous. So
no,
I'm like forcing myself to
you're
do
talking,
that.
you're talking to an old dude from Australia. You're doing pretty well, if you ask me.
I love that.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here's some questions. We're going to sort of finish on some simple questions to sort of give people more of an understanding of who you are in a very short, succinct sort of time. So, what's one topic you can talk about for hours?
The moon and the universe.
Wow, that's cool. Astrology is cool. What's the thing you like most about yourself?
Probably my mind and my personality, because
Looks.
I can just keep talking about weird stuff.
Well, I think that's interesting. All right, here we go. To finish, some favorites. Favorite album?
Probably something from Queen. Literally any album from Queen.
I was talking to. Do you know they might be Giants? I was talking to John from They Might Be Giants. They're a bit older, I suppose. They've been around for 30, 40 years. No. I was talking to the guy that does Arian in up in Amsterdam, and they've done about 35 years of the thing that's just been massive and using singers from all around the world, etc. And he's working with Simone Simons from Epica, and he said Queen 2 is his favourite album of all time. Now he's about 60, I suppose. He said Queen 2 is his favourite album of all time. Sorry to digress, but that's good.
It's a good
And if you're
band.
talking about dance, it's not really dance. Freddie owned the stage, and he wasn't a dancer.
Yeah, and it was a show. He wasn't even dancing, and it was still, you want to just stare and watch.
Well, that's the same when you're talking about when you're talking about Michael and Gaga and all this sort of stuff. That's what it is, isn't it? I mean, they're cool people, but their entertainment is just, you just leave with your jaw dropped. So it's pretty cool. It's a good thing to do. Favorite artist?
Right now, Chapel Roan.
Yeah, that's a good artist. Favorite movie?
Shrek.
1, 2, 3, 15, 25.
All of them.
All of them.
Probably the first one is the best.
It's the first one, the Discovery. Favorite place to visit?
Disney.
Really? Australia?
Yeah.
I lived in the guts up in Sydney for a couple of years, and it is.
Oh, I said Disney.
Oh, Disney. I thought you said Sydney.
Oh, no, Disney. Like Disney World.
As in Disney World in Florida.
Yeah.
I thought you said Sydney. That's why I was surprised. Favorite venue to play?
So far, the Troubadour.
Yeah, Troubadour's a great place.
Troubadour is iconic.
Aspirational. Favorite venue to play? Where do you want to play? Where do you want people to see you with the big?
Probably somewhere in my hometown would be super fun. The first concert I ever saw was Hilary Duff's Metamorphoses tour, her like very first tour ever. And it was at the amphitheater in Florida, around where I grew up. And I think there would be iconic.
Favorite food?
Anything ethnic. I love Indian food. It's my favorite. Chinese food.
Spicy? You like spice?
I love spicy food.
Favorite drink?
Gatorade. Blue Gatorade.
I love blue Gatorade. Seriously, I love blue Gatorade. Favorite person in history?
Oh. Probably me in a past life that I haven't met yet.
Sensational. There's probably hundreds of them, so it could be
yeah.
Past lives. Do you have, and I'm sure you don't, but do you have a tattoo?
I have 6 tattoos.
And what's your favorite?
Can
you show it, or is it in?
I have fairy dust on my foot.
Too hard. I'm not going to get you to show it.
Yeah, it's too hard to show, but
fairy dust. And where did that come from?
Fairies, magic. I love magic.
It's cool. Before we get you to just tell us the final thing, I think it's cool, man. I think you know, when you do interviews and all that sort of stuff, you meet all different people from all different walks of the music environment, all life. And they're all different because you don't know what to expect when you're having this conversation. And some of the old guys turn up and they're like, they've been around for 40 years, they're doing arena shows and all that. And like I was talking about not John, I was talking about Arlen, and he's completely introverted. He's completely, like, he's been doing all this massive stuff and all this sort of gear, and he won't leave his house. He doesn't want to talk to people. He's done that before, and he's just completely in his own space with his little dog. And so he goes out and creates, produces all this stuff. And then there are other people that are just over the top, and, you know, everyone's different. I think that in saying that, I think you're pretty cool. I think you've got a very cool.
Thank you.
No, I think you've got a very cool outlook. But I think the hard part is to continue with it and to build it, etc. Because, you know, there's knocks to everyone and all that sort of stuff, and you'll have your knocks and that. But if you sound like you're pretty sturdy and you've got a pretty good background there with the Centennial family, you know, the guys, and all power to you. I'm a new fan. Now, tell
Thank
me,
you.
as a final, and that's got nothing to do with your music, because your music, I'm sure, will be good, because you can always modify that and change that up and
Yeah.
spice it up with video, etc. But basically, you've got to be that sturdy center if you're going to go somewhere. And it sounds like
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that, like I was saying earlier, how Greg, he really built, he was like, before we even start the music thing, we need to build you up as a person. And I think years of that, like, is good to do for anybody, you know?
It's the first thing I say to you, like I'm 66, so I've been around a long time. And it's the first thing I say to every artist that turns up that wants numbers. I say, forget about numbers, champ. Find out who you are. Because then whatever you do is going to follow who you are. So it's going to be a full life, whether you make it or you don't make it, whatever making it is. But if you don't do that and you keep on pursuing something that you have some sort of a dream of, you're never living here. You're always living here, because you're always thinking about where you're going, and you've got to live here if you're going to have a life, in my view. Sorry, digressing. So give us a final.
Oh no, it's okay. I love it.
What's your final word to people? You know, what are we all going to look forward to? You know, what's coming out soon, and what's the big, sell?
I look out for shows coming soon, because that'll be happening shortly, and an EP is dropping very shortly also. So just keep an eye out, and fun things will be coming.
We will look forward to it, and I'm sure that your future is going to have some influencing in it too. As soon as you start to experience more of that sort of stuff, I'm sure you'll find a way to share some of that wisdom, because I think the world needs more of that than it needs of anyone's music at this stage. Especially you're talking about Florida. There's a guy in Florida who we won't talk about, but that's so the world needs good people, and you sound like good people, Jules. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for your chat this morning. I look forward to seeing the music when it comes out and the videos, etc. And I look forward to following your career as it moves forward. So well done.
Thank you so much. And, I got to try to come to Australia and get people in Australia to listen to my music. I think it would go crazy.
Most of the guys that I talk to from overseas tell me that every time they come to Australia, they find a different fan, because they're more courageous, I suppose, or they jump out and they're more prepared to really get stuck in. And most entertainers love to have that interaction with the audience. So we're here to do it. So we look forward to seeing you when you come down.
Thank you. I'll try to be there as soon as possible. I've never been, so it'd be so cool. Now, and I also love your Simpsons thing behind you. That's my favorite TV show.
It's a cell. It was actually signed by Cartwright, whatever her name, Cartwright.
Nancy Cartwright.
Nancy Cartwright. Yeah, she signed it up there. So.
Oh my God, it's my favorite show. I watch it every single day. Literally watched it yesterday.
Let me tell you, and I swear to God, I'm there in about 89, might have been 88, 89, and I'm watching the Tracy Ullman show, right? And Tracy Ullman's a comedian, had a sketch show. Big comedian in the States, before everyone. She was fantastic. Probably one of the first real solid female solid people. And they had this little short on in between each of the sketches, and it was just 30 seconds or a minute of this little short that was all, and it was The Simpsons. It was the start of The Simpsons, because all the people in the skits were all the Cartwright and all the guys that were the voices of the Simpsons. And so that's where it started. And I used to say to people, you've got to watch this show. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen. And then in 1990, around 1990, it came out, and me and my two kids, who are now in their 30s or 30-ish, we'd sit down every Saturday morning, and they had a marathon that went from about 9 to 12, and we'd watch it for 3 hours every Saturday.
Oh, I love that.
I'm a mad Simpsons fan anyway.
It's the best.
I talk too much. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much. It was nice to meet you.
Thank you so much. And we'll get this out, and we'll share your story with the world.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too. All the best.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Soph. All the best.
So
Bye now.
Bye.